Genesis 5 is mostly a genealogical record from Adam to Noah. I'll probably skip most of the genealogies in future chapters, but this one holds something amazing that I will share with you at the end.
This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that God created man, in the likeness of God made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created.
Adam is mentioned both as the singular man Adam and as a plural Adam consisting of the man and the woman. Women came from men and are part of mankind.
Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth.
We're not told how old he was when Cain and Abel were born. But think about this. Adam was 130 when Seth was born. 130. Think about the amount of time Adam and Eve had together all alone. We don't know how much of that time was in the Garden of Eden. The fall of man in Genesis 3 could have happened on day 8 or year 100. I figure Cain and Abel could have been born maybe 30 years before Seth. Abel was already dead before Seth was born. We don't know how old Cain and Abel were in Genesis 4. Cain was an adult enough to have a wife, so let's go with under 30. Maybe Cain and Abel were born when Adam was 100. So if Cain and Abel were conceived right after the fall of man, they could have been in the Garden of Eden 100 years together before the serpent came along.
And the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters.
And daughters. Adam and Eve had plenty of other kids that don't get mentioned. Cain married one of his many sisters and took her with him when he was banished. Seth married one of his many sisters. Seth's younger brothers married younger sisters. The population will start growing rapidly.
And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died.
Well, God was right. Eat the fruit and you'll die. You might think 930 years is a long time to live, but he's been dead for over 5,000 years. He'd still be alive if he didn't eat the fruit. Remember, the Earth's atmosphere was very different before the flood. I suggest watching Kent Hovind's second and sixth videos called The Garden of Eden and The Hovind Theory, respectively. Humans could live for centuries, but they still died.
And Seth lived 105 years, and begat Enos. And Seth lived after he begat Enos 807 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and he died. And Enos lived 90 years, and begat Canaan. And Enos lived after he begat Canaan 815 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Canaan lived 70 years, and begat Mahalaleel. And Canaan lived after he begat Mahalaleel 840 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Canaan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalaleel lived 65 years, and begat Jared. And Mahalaleel lived after he begat Jared 830 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalaleel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begat Enoch. And Jared lived after he begat Enoch 800 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years, and begat Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God after he begat Methuselah 300 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him.
Enoch was somehow special. His name means teaching. 57 years after Adam died, Enoch was the next to go, but he didn't actually die. God took him. What does that mean? We are told in Hebrews that he was translated that he should not see death. This is the same thing that's taught about the resurrection of us Christians when Jesus comes back. Some Christians will be still alive the day Jesus returns. So those people will be translated or changed into a spiritual body like Jesus has ever since his resurrection. So Enoch got raptured, so to speak. He's the only one before the flood that got raptured. But we'll see a similar thing happen to Elijah later in the Old Testament.
And Methuselah lived 187 years, and begat Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begat Lamech 782 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died.
Methuselah's name means his death shall bring. The year Methuselah died was the year the flood came.
And Lamech lived 182 years, and begat a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground, which the Lord hath cursed. And Lamech lived after he begat Noah 595 years, and begat sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Here we find Noah's name means comfort. I've been pointing out what these Hebrew names mean for a reason. Now I want to show you something I learned from Chuck Missler. Here's what all 10 in a row mean. Adam equals man, Seth equals appointed, Enos equals mortal, Canaan equals sorrow, Mahalalel equals the blessed God, Jared equals shall come down, Enoch equals teaching, Methuselah equals his death shall bring, Lamech equals despairing, and Noah equals comfort. These 10 names form this sentence. Man is appointed mortal sorrow, but the blessed God shall come down, teaching that his death shall bring the despairing comfort. That's the Christian gospel of Jesus Christ, found encoded in Genesis 5.